Good morning and welcome. Members, please take your seats. Happy Friday, everyone. All right. All right, clerk, please call the roll.
I believe Delegate Shen is remote.
Okay, and I believe we
Delegate
have one
Shen?
member.
Present.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Delegate Shen. All right, clerk, please close the roll. All right, one housekeeping measure. We have one bill, that House Bill 698, Delegate Keem, to send to Finance. To refer to Finance.
Mr. Chairman, question? Is it a report and refer to finance?
No, it's refer to Finance.
Just refer, okay.
Just refer to Finance.
So moved.
So we need a motion and a second.
Second.
Motion properly seconded. Voice vote?
Hold on. I didn't get the number of it, so.
Yeah, we need to.
Is the voice vote? Is that?
I believe it is. I'm sorry, it's
It's a
698.
straight referral? Let me see.
Straight referral.
Voice vote.
Yes, voice vote. All right, motion properly seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, moving on. In an interest of time, what we'll do is take our subcommittee reports. All of those that were uncontested, we will, when without objection, we'll vote on those in a block, then pull out the contested and work through it fairly quickly and limit any testimony, hopefully to a minute, with anyone anyone in the audience or virtually that wishes to speak to the bill. So with that, Delegate Moorfield, I believe you have two subcommittee reports.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. And before we move on the reports, we do have some bills that were recommended to be stricken from the docket. So House Bill 596, I'm sorry, House Bill 855, and House Bill 1016. Mr. Chairman, we're recommended at 9-0, and I so move.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion properly seconded. All in favor of striking those two fine bills from the docket?
Wait a second.
Good on you, thank you.
I've got an error here.
Yep. Yep, thank you. Yes, we are.
Hold on.
And,
Okay. All right, give me the two numbers again, please. I'm sorry.
Yes, House Bill 855 and House Bill 1016.
Okay. We have a motion on those two bills and properly seconded.
Hold
When
on.
you're ready.
Got to go back. I have them set up like that way, and they didn't come up as a block.
You want us to do a voice vote on it?
No, can you do them individually? That would be,
Okay.
okay.
You can do it individually.
Motion is to pass, what was it, to pass by, what was the motion? I'm sorry.
To strike.
Strike, I'm sorry. Stricken from, there it is, okay.
Question?
I can't get them both.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Is it on?
All right. Members, please cast your vote.
Okay.
All right.
Delegate
Del-
Shen?
Aye.
All right, we got it. Okay, moving on. Delegate Moorfield.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, did we strike House Bill 855 as well?
You need to-
Yes, I move, I so move.
Second.
All right. Select motion. Kind of docket. Open display, okay. I'm getting an error message, Kathy. I don't know what it,
It's requiring a bill number. If you go up to bill, click on,
yeah, I did that and then it went away, so I didn't.
Just clear,
Yeah, what is the,
just clear, down here, clear. All right, now pick 855, right there.
okay,
Edit item,
edit item.
picture motion, stricken. Display the item.
I just double clicked it. Yeah, open vote.
Open vote, yes.
Thank you, but stay close. Because there's something not right.
Open vote.
Huh?
And call Delegate Shin.
Right.
You can call her.
Okay, Delegate Shin?
Aye.
Okay.
And Delegate Shin, can you please turn your camera on as a rule of the House when you're voting? Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, I can do that. Thank you.
Okay, Ms.
All right, Delegate Morefield.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, it was recommended by the committee that House Bill 596, Delegate Clark, report and be referred to the Committee on General Laws. It's I so move.
We have a motion and properly seconded.
Delegate Shin?
Aye.
I did, okay, didn't take, hold on. Okay, there you go.
There we go. All right, Clerk, please. She's a yes. She's a yes. So everyone's voted. Clerk, please close the roll.
Something's happening, it's not.
All right, you done with that? All right, Delegate Morefield.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, and we have House Bill 377. I move that bill go by for the day. This was at the request of the patron.
Okay, without objection, we'll go by for the day. Do we need to pull that from the block and go by for the day, or just by for the day? By for the day, yeah. Well, okay. All right, Delegate Morefield.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we have one more bill to go by for the day. That is House Bill 116, and I so move.
Second.
All right. Without objection, that bill will go by for the day. Speed things up a little bit.
Okay,
All
Mr.
right,
Chairman.
Delegate Morefield.
Okay, and we'll take the bills that were uncontested up in a block. And that bill, those bills, House Bill 32 was recommended reporting 9-0. Adds Bath County to the list of localities authorized to impose a solid waste disposal fee. House Bill 60, Economic Development Authority, Town of Louisa, provides the Town of Louisa may appoint from 5 to 7 members to serve on the board. House Bill 267 Local taxes grants localities permissive authority to return surplus personal property tax revenues to the taxpayers. The committee recommended reporting all those 9-0, and I so move.
Second, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion and properly seconded.
Could,
Someone wish to speak?
yeah, ma'am, Mr. Chair,
Delegate
could you
McNamara.
please state the bill numbers again?
Yes, House Bill 32, House Bill 60, House Bill 267.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right.
Okay, hold on.
So we have a motion and properly seconded. We'll be up and running shortly.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir. Delegate McNamara.
I was showing different bills than were
Yeah,
just stated.
he's still working on it over here.
32. $167 too, right? Update item on board.
There we go, members. Please cast your vote.
Delegate Shen,
Aye.
okay, 22-0.
All right. Clerk, please close the roll. Okay, Delegate Morefield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next, we have House Bill 167, Delegate Ranson. The committee recommended reporting 9-1. The bill provides that in any instance in which a locality has submitted a correct and timely notice request to such newspaper and the newspaper fails to publish the notice or publish the notice incorrectly, such locality shall be deemed to have met the appropriate notice requirements so as long as the notice was published in the next available edition of a newspaper having general circulation in the locality. I so move.
Just close it.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Delegate Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Speaking to the bill.
Yes, Delegate Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this bill came up in a previous session as well. And a couple of years ago, we had passed a bill from Delegate Knight that was specifically geared toward one instance that happened with the Norfolk, Virginia pilot, if I remember correctly on that. And while I had some concerns at the time about the bill, as reflected in my vote on it, that one was supported with VPA. And I know that VPA had previously supported a version of this bill. The objection that I have raised on this is that I feel like we're taking a single solitary instance that happened with one newspaper that was summarily corrected, and we're now putting it in the code to basically say that it's almost as if this is an ongoing issue in localities throughout the state. And I'm not aware of a systemic problem with newspapers at this point in terms of, it rising to the need for us to put it throughout every locality in the code right now. So that's just my objection coming as a reporter turned legislator. So that's that's my bias. I understand, but I know the committee will do as it wishes.
Thank you, Delegate Rome.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Chairman.
just to follow up on that, I've actually seen this in one of my localities as well. So it can happen, and it has happened in other areas as well. So any more discussion? Yes, sir. Delegate
I
Cherry.
would echo, Mr. Chairman, your statement. Having served on city council, this has been an issue with our locality as well, that many times we'll send things out and the paper just doesn't get it done in a timely fashion. And so I absolutely will support this, but I've seen it as well.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Delegate Corey.
thank you. Apparently, this is not working for voting and for asking to speak, so thank you for recognizing me. I would like, I would like to add my voice to the former chair of the Charter Committee and to say that this was quite controversial last time. And it went back and forth and back and forth. I don't know how many people noticed, but it came to the floor and then it was re-referred. And we had talked about having a special task force to deal with it because the different newspaper outlets as well as the localities did not agree. So I understand why it's coming back, but I'm afraid I have to disagree one more time. So thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Corey, and I believe Delegate Williams-Graves.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I like this piece of legislation for a number of reasons, having served on local city council and understanding how diligent our communications office works to make sure that they get information in a timely manner to the newspaper. And I don't believe that the locality should be punished because a newspaper is negligent. That also being said, with the ability for newspapers or anyone at this point to be able to upload things electronically in today's times where that may not have been the case some years ago, the ease of electronics and newspapers going out electronically twice a day, I think that it is definitely something that I would be willing to support just because I know that localities work very hard to get their notices in on time, and they should not be penalized if the newspaper doesn't do their part. Lastly, newspapers are divvied up in departments that are not even local in some cases. They're everywhere. I know ours has several departments. The paper's been sold, the paper in reference, the pilot, it's been sold, and their departments are everywhere. And there's very little, sometimes, if no, local connections to the people in City Hall and the newspapers. And some of the people at the newspapers could care less. Not the way that it may have been when Delegate Rome was working, but some of them could care less. So I like this piece of legislation and I fully support it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. No one else to speak. We have a motion and properly seconded. Clerk, please, his motion to report and properly seconded.
Delegate Shen,
Aye.
Clerk, please
hold
close
on
the
a
roll.
minute. I can't get her to stay. There you go. All right.
All right. Delegate Morefield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the next report, we do have one uncontested bill that was recommended for reporting 9-0, House Bill 437, Delegate Bulova, localities, public meeting, state project planning phase allows the locality the option to request a public meeting in the locality during the planning phase of public facilities state project from the state agency or institution of higher education responsible for such a project, and I so move.
What number are we on? 437. Thank you.
No, that's not.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and properly seconded.
This thing is just going slow. All right, it's the report.
Doug. Because that's the one's on really.
It's real slow, but I'm waiting.
This, yeah, that's uncontested, but see, this one goes to general laws. We already acted on that.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. There we go. Okay.
I'm just showing two, Marshall.
Delegate Shen,
Aye.
Delegate Morefield.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next, we have House Bill 173, which was recommended to report 6-3 with recommendation of reporting with an amendment, and I so move the amendment.
All in favor of adopting the amendment, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Delegate Morefield.
Mr. Chairman, the committee reported 6-3. I so move.
We have a motion to report 6-3. We have a motion and properly seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Delegate Rome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I have a question for the patron.
Delegate Marshall, welcome.
Good morning.
All right, so Mr. Chairman, I would ask the delegates, so I know the issue came before the Charter Subcommittee a couple of years ago in 2020, and that when I was chair of the subcommittee, one of the things I had asked was basically for the city and the county more or less to, try to work out a deal. I thought things were going a little too quickly on that. My understanding is that in the years since then, there's been a voluntary settlement agreement of some sort that's more or less been ironed out, that the city of Martinsville has supported it, and that on a couple occasions, the Henry County Board of Supervisors has supported it. And, even on the Henry County website, they even mention that because the code doesn't allow for referenda for cities under 50,000 in terms of reversion, that, basically this is kind of where they're at. And I understand that the delegates' intention on this is pretty much to, see if they can have that referendum in the first place. But I'd like to ask the delegate if he could speak to the process that has played out over the last couple of years and why at this point we would interject the General Assembly into what has seemed to be a local process that was playing itself out to a conclusion.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I think we have two people in the queue. One is Ruth Easley, who lives in Martinsville, and another is a member of Martinsville City Council. If I could defer to them.
Okay, anyone in particular?
Let's go to Ruth Easley.
Welcome, Ms. Easley. Please let Ms. Easley in to speak.
Unmute your microphone.
Good morning, Chairman Hodges and members of the committee.
Good morning, welcome.
Can I ask Delegate Rome she wanted to know about the voluntary settlement agreement and where it is in the process at this time?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Martinsville and Henry County did work out a voluntary settlement agreement. I will say that the process, it did not involve stakeholders before they started the process going into the voluntary settlement agreement, and that kind of came out during the Commission on Local Government's public hearing on the voluntary settlement agreement. As a result of the necessary public hearings that were required after that voluntary settlement agreement was adopted, Henry County, with their last public hearing that was required, they had speakers who were against the voluntary settlement agreement. So they have actually pumped the brakes and opted not to move forward with the voluntary settlement agreement. The city council members in a 4-1 vote voted to proceed with it. They had a hearing, an ordinance. They adopted the ordinance on first reading, and then a couple of days later, they had a special meeting to adopt it on second. And I believe Councilwoman Pearson could probably speak to that better than I.
Thank you, Commissioner. That is indeed correct.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Mr. Chairman, I would say that's at least a start. I'm curious though, because I know the delegate represents Henry County. Basically, where is the Henry County board on this at this point? I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, where's the Henry County board on this if they voted for the process at least on 2 occasions, what's Henry County's position in terms of their elected officials on it?
So the Board of Supervisors endorsed, Senator Stanley has a similar bill, and then they endorsed both of these bills to go forward.
Okay. Thank you, Delegate Rome. Delegate Marshall, I believe Delegate Mullen. Request to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I first wanted to thank the delegate for chatting with me a little bit after a subcommittee the other day. And so based on that conversation, I just had a question. There was a gentleman who had spoken previously to the subcommittee and offered testimony regarding whether or not there is any pending litigation. I'm wondering whether that gentleman might be with us currently on the Zoom.
I believe that was me, Stephen Peepgrass, counsel for the city of Martinsville.
Hello, sir. How are you today? Mr. Chairman?
Doing well, thank you.
Have a follow-up?
Delegate Mulligan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, sir, as an attorney, I am loath to intervene when there is pending litigation. But litigation is different from negotiation and mediation. And so I just want to give an opportunity for clarification now. Is there pending litigation, or are there just pending legal back and forths between the two entities?
Yes, yes, sir, there is pending litigation. There's a case filed in Henry County Circuit Court, actually by the county. There's also a pending arbitration, which, as you know, is a legal proceeding. And then the city yesterday filed a motion in Henry County Circuit Court to send this to the special court, which is a three-judge panel that gets appointed by the Supreme Court of Virginia to consider all matters related to reversion. So that's where this stands right now, and that's certainly pending litigation. And though
one follow-up.
Delegate Mullen.
Is there a current demur or on the pending litigation? Has that been set aside by the court because there is a ongoing mediation? There's some status that the ongoing legal proceedings filed by Martinsville County are somehow stayed?
No, sir. The litigation is ongoing. Henry County filed a motion in circuit court to stay in arbitration that was also a parallel proceeding. The arbitrator stayed that arbitration proceeding, and now the court proceeding in Henry County Circuit Court is active and ongoing. We filed a motion yesterday in response to the proceedings filed by the county, and that's the motion that sends this to that asks to send this to a special court. So it's fully ongoing litigation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mullen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I ask a brief question of, I believe, the Office of the Commissioner of the Revenue?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair?
Delegate Mullen.
Thank you. We just heard testimony that there is not ongoing litigation. Perhaps you might be able to give an opinion one way or the other on that question as well.
Well, as Mr. Chairman, I would say that I'm not an attorney and I'm also not the clerk of court. However, I did speak with our clerk of court yesterday after you and I spoke. And it is my understanding that there are no petitions filed in either circuit court. And I believe he provided additional information. Prior to yesterday, there are no petitions that have been filed in the circuit court regarding the reversion process. There was a contract dispute for declaratory judgment filed in Henry County on January 5th of 21. And to his knowledge, those are the only ones.
Thank you. Delegate Subramanian.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Chair. A question for the patron.
Yes, sir.
Do you know of, maybe someone on the Zoom would know, but do you know if there was a public process throughout this, all of this, where, did the public have any opportunity to engage throughout this and provide feedback?
So I don't live in Martinsville, so again, I'm going to ask the person who lives in Martinsville who has been really close to this the whole time. So that was Miss Easley, so she can maybe give us a little bit better timeline than I could.
Thank you.
If that's okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, to answer the delegate's question, there are a series of public hearings that have to be held as part of a reversion process. And the city attorney pointed out yesterday during his testimony that there were opportunities for public input outside of that, where he indicated that there were 70 opportunities. Those were business from the floor opportunities, and most of those business from the floor opportunities were closed because of COVID. The building was closed. We've got an elderly population that is not technologically savvy. So the only option you had to make comments before council is you either emailed them or you contacted the clerk or you contacted a council member. But we still have not really fully gotten back to business from the floor. If you look at the agenda, it even says business from the floor canceled. And then in fine print, it tells you that you can do it. So nobody's really sure whether you can or you can't.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. All right, Delegate Marshall. So just in a nutshell, supervisors asked for it. Town gets to decide their fate. People get to decide.
You know, all
Mr. Chair.
of us trust the voters every 2 years. I'm asking the voters of Martinsville, this is a big decision for Martinsville, and so the easiest thing to do, and I think the fairest thing to do, is let the voters decide.
Okay, members, we have a motion and properly seconded. Close. Yeah.
I believe the city attorney from Martinsville had his hand raised.
We've called for this. I think it's time interest of time, in testimony, we need to move forward. We have a motion and properly seconded. Site can't be reached.
Wait a minute. Disappeared.
All right, Delegate Mullen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. While we're awaiting the system, I just wanted to note that I just pulled up the Martinsville Circuit Court Civil Division, under which there is a case number that was filed as a complaint and catch-all between the city of Martinsville as well as Henry County on June 4th of 2020.
All right, members, please cast your vote.
Delegate Shen,
No.
All right, clerk, please close the roll. Thank you, Delegate Marshall.
Thank you. Thanks
Bill
for your time.
passes. Thank you. You have one more?
Yes.
I do have one more. I think this was easier.
All right, Delegate Moorfield.
Mr. Chairman, we have House Bill 272, which extends from July 1st, 2022 to July 1st, 2023, the sunset date for various local land use approvals that were valid and outstanding as of July 1st, 2020. The bill also provides that its provisions shall not be construed to extend previous extensions related to the COVID-19 housing crisis. The committee recommended reporting 7-2, and I so move.
All right, we have a motion before us. Do we have a second? Motion properly seconded. Any discussion? Members, please cast your vote.
Delegate Shen,
Aye.
All right, clerk, please close the roll. There we go. All right, moving on. Thank you, Delegate Marshall.
Thank you all. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Thanks for your patience.
Mr. Chair, before the delegate leaves. Angela Williams-Graves wants to change your vote to a yes.
Okay, Delegate Marshall.
Yes.
You have to do it on the prevailing side to do that.
I was on the prevailing side. No, I'm just asking the chair if you'd like to make the motion.
Yeah, Delegate Mullen.
Mr. Chair, having voted on the prevailing side whereby we passed Delegate Marshall's bill related to the reversion.
House Bill 173.
Thank you. House Bill 173. I would ask that that be re-brought up so that a member may change their vote. Reconsidered, pardon me. Thank you.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, clerk, please call the roll.
we're gonna vote on the board or?
Yes, we need to
Okay.
redo that one.
Okay. You said call. I know, I gotta. No, wait a minute. Motion is.
Yeah.
Is reconsideration on here?
To yeah.
Yeah, this is the
Okay.
vote. Yeah,
It's a voice vote. Okay.
Yeah, but now we need to call the roll again.
Okay.
Yeah. restate.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, House Bill 173, committee recommended reporting, 6-3, I so move with an amendment.
With an amendment. Motion before us. We have a second. Motion properly seconded. Members, please cast your vote.
All right, technical problems.
Sorry, Delegate Marshall.
That's okay.
I can't get it to display.
Your mouse is up on the extended desktop for most of that, so you're doing 173, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm just one, so there you go. And that should be,
He said, let me display it, right there. Yes.
click again, oops, sorry.
Yeah, see that?
Okay, there you go. Report with amendment, right?
What with amendment, right?
Yeah, there you go. I'll display that.
All right, should be up soon, folks.
That's a lag there. You stay in line.
There we go. Members, please cast your vote.
Delegate Shen,
No. Oh, sorry. No.
1 to 2.
he doesn't.
There's a big delay. It's showing on ours, but
Yeah.
it's not
Is
up
it
there.
showing? Her vote's not showing. Help me out here.
It's showing correctly on the.
It's the display board.
There it is. Okay. There we
All
go.
right. Clerk, please close the roll. Passes 14-8. Thank you, Delegate Marshall.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Okay, Delegate Moorfield.
Mr. Chairman, that completes my report. I just realized that I tied my tie too long. I'm glad it's Friday.
Thank you, Delegate Moorfield. All right, moving on. We have a Subcommittee 1 report from Delegate McNamara. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. We have 3 bills in front of us, all recommended reporting unanimously 9-0. House Bill 161, Patron Chris Delegate Runyon. It established a new charter for the town of Grottoes. The current charter is 25 years old. It had a lot of, I would call them housekeeping updates. As you might see on a charter rewrite. It was a complete rewrite. We fully vetted it during the subcommittee meeting. House Bill 190, Delegate Chairman Hodges, Town of Urbana. It extended the term of the elected mayor from 2 years to 4 years, kind of further fine-tuned what the responsibilities for that office were. It also staggered the terms of the council members from 2 years to 4 years as well. House Bill 454 by Delegate Knight removes the requirement that a minimum 6% of the total general fund be reserved for emergency use and cash flow needs. I will say that the description that I just gave and the way the bill reads sounds as though it's removing restrictions from the city of Chesapeake. The reality is the city of Chesapeake is bumping up against a 15% statutory limit for the reserves. So this actually provides more flexibility. It is not making it easier for the city of Chesapeake to be fiscally derelict. So all 3 of those bills reported 9-0. I would like to move House Bill 161, House Bill 190, and House Bill 454 in a block to report.
Second. We have a motion and properly seconded. Any discussion? Members, please cast your vote.
Delegate Shen,
Aye.
All right, clerk, please close the roll. All right, Delegate McNamara.
I believe that completes the Subcommittee 1 report.
Okay. I believe that completes our docket. Is that correct? All right, any further business to come before the committee? Everyone have a safe weekend. We're expecting a little precipitation around the state, so everyone please be safe, please be careful, and have a great weekend. This committee stands adjourned.